Is he?
Hey,
all be
we're
muted.
actually live, Pro Streamer. Sorry about that. And now you guys are live. Go ahead.
But I'll...
Yeah. Okay, we're good now. Yeah.
Go for it. Let's just start. I'm so sorry.
What's up, guys? Slade, I played Raymond Bowerstone, Season 1 of Blades in the Dark. Let's move over to the next person. How do they do it?
That's
Johnny.
Johnny.
They point to people.
No. We're gonna go down next. Miss Ginger Ninja, go for it.
I don't know where I am on the stage.
You're directly under Slade.
That sounds like me pretty much all the time.
Wait, what?
Wait, but I thought he was the power bottom.
Not season 2.
Not season 2.
Oh, we have so much to discuss about that.
That cave is gonna get never mind. Season 2, I'm gonna be playing OC again, so we'll see how that goes. I don't know who's anywhere near me. I'm not even gonna try.
Just
with Mike.
Point to your left, yeah.
Sweet. Guys, I'm Mike from Mummy Gaming. I played Nixarian, aka Nix Destarosi of Season 1 in the Shroud. And he's a megalomaniac that's going to take over the city. Fuck you, Speedy.
Jesus Christ.
Choking on a sweet tart.
What you get.
That's how Speedy kills me, is by giving me candy until I die.
And making you call him Sweetie.
Yeah. That's true. Ooh, nice ass.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah.
All right, go into Louise. Go for Louise.
Hello, I'm Louise. I played Sling in Season 1 and will be playing Sling in Season 2 if she doesn't die in the meantime. Which, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen?
Since Speedy is gone, we'll go up to Trin.
Not quite gone.
He's passed from this.
He's having some conversation. I'm not sure what's
If we
going
could
on
have
there.
a
Let's just
moment of silence for Speedy. Never to be seen again.
All right, done.
Can we just say, look at his posture?
If he gets kidnapped, at least we see who it was.
Posture. I thought you were going to say posterior, and I'm like, I am looking at it.
He's a long boy.
Don't.
Let's not get into that.
Do not tease.
Close the door. No, I don't want it.
I will
I'm switching off the light. Good night.
Such a-
Switching it back on.
He's
Turn it
turning it
back.
off and on. Shut the class
Have you
up.
tried turning it off and on again?
Oh, well, apparently he has. So,
Hi.
Shut up, it's not your turn yet. So I would be Trendane, and I played Hocus, the Whisper, in Season 1 of Blades in the Dark, which I think is how you say it in France.
Mm-hmm.
And was on this guy's team right down here.
I think he's talking to Speedy, and we'll go to Speedy.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Speedy, or Not So Speedruns. I ran the game on my channel, and I played as Sky, the pure villain who just absolutely wanted nothing more than to watch Duskfall burn. And God has so many regrets after last night.
So far, only your boat burned.
Well, let's. I mean, we've got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about, but let's go to that point directly, because that was a pretty significant thing. I've gotten a couple of tweets and some private messages saying that was pretty intense for you guys last night at the end. I mean, it was
very intense for us.
I legit, I rarely get to watch it, but because it was on so late and because I hate my body, I was up watching the whole thing. Since from like 10 o'clock on, and when they got to the boat and all of the friends and family were gone, and every single person turned on you, I was like, "Oh no, that wasn't the plan. The whole crew's gonna kill Speedy. Speedy's never gonna do his plan. Oh no!"
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
I was like, "This is how Speedy dies. This is it right here."
Yeah.
Wait a minute,
right.
did you just out Speedy for something?
No.
Are you sure? Because
Yeah,
it sounded
everyone
like you
has
outed him for something. What are you trying to imply that he did?
I'm not trying to imply anything. Everyone has a plan. Everyone has one. Nix has a plan. Speedy has a plan. Luis,
A plan
her
was
plan is to get
Wants
lower.
to fight. He wants to fight.
Not anymore. I'm a changed woman.
Doubt it.
I mean, they didn't really like turn on me. It was just like, I was like, we should probably just go. And they were like, we're not going to just
fuck
go.
you.
Yeah. Well, you guys
And I
got
just
there.
went along with them.
You got there, and there was no one on the boat, and every single person went, Sky, where the fuck is everybody? And you were like,
Yeah.
I don't. And then everyone did it. And I was like, oh no, they think Sky did it. He's dead.
They didn't think I did it.
No.
But they were all mad at you for some reason, as if you had
Hocus
something to do with
Well,
them.
it was they
Or
were
because
mad
you
at
had
me
no
because
friends.
they wanted their family back, and I was saying we should just go.
Yeah.
Because we don't have time for
It's
that.
like, yep, they're gonna keel haul
I mean,
Sky and put him in the fucking.
Because Sky had his sister literally with him, and
Yeah.
Hocus didn't have anybody on the boat at all. So
One is
Yeah.
the loneliest man.
Meanwhile, the rest of the crew had brought on literally everyone they
Yeah.
loved and cared about and put
Yeah.
them on that boat.
Yeah, secretly Sling brought Nix on the boat, just so you guys knew.
We didn't tell you about that, but that was the letter I sent him. I was like, hey,
Yeah, hey, don't forget to come to the boat.
don't forget to come to that boat I told you about.
I know you're doing a lot of shit, but feel free to come to the boat.
I want to do a slight flashback to my crit on the extending my ward through everybody. It squeezed out all of the ghosts except for the one that's in Nick, so he's still in the church.
That's fair. That's fair. Nix prefers ghosts inside of him, so works out well.
Oh,
Did you say ghosts inside of you or goats? I'm sorry, that was a little unclear because of the echo in your room.
Dealer's choice.
6 inches of one, half a foot of the other. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's how the phrase goes.
All right, so but before we get any more into the randomness that is, let's talk. I mean, we've got a really brief outline, but I wanted to go into how this all came together, and I think this really comes back to something that both Speedy and Mike were very keen in doing, which was running Blades individually on each of their channels, and I didn't know how to say no to either of them.
Watch.
Mhm.
No.
That's the
Simple.
if we could have a tagline for the entire series, it's I didn't know how to say no to either of them. Blades in the Dark, 6 and 20. Guys, it got really out of hand on both seasons. I didn't know how to say no to either of them. That was pretty much
true.
the tagline for the thing.
I mean, yeah, like all the players not knowing how to say no to a ghost contract. It's just everything.
But no, I have a 12-hour charity stream every month, and I had Johnny run. He's run a couple games on there, but he ran Blades in the Dark because he wouldn't shut his mouth about the game, and I was like, fine, fucking run it. So I had him run I had him run the game on my channel, and then I think like a few weeks later, Speedy, you had him run on your channel, and then a few weeks after that, I was like, hey Johnny, you're gonna run the next Blades campaign on my channel. And then a day or two later, you asked him, Speedy, if he could run on yours. And he was like, I don't know what to do. And I was like, oh, fucking run them both.
Yeah,
And
it was
that's
really
pretty
weird.
much
I
it.
mean, I had asked Johnny to come DM a one shot because I usually do one shots every Sunday, and it's usually just D&D. But Johnny recommended Blades in the Dark because he said he had just run it on your channel as well, and I was like, well, if he did it for Mike,
Yeah, how bad can it be?
yeah.
Predation.
But the one shot on my channel was it was only myself, Moon, and Muscles. It was just the three of us. It was originally supposed to be more, and we actually had Lisa on it as staged to be on it as well, as along with one other person who ended up not being able to make it because the original day that we had scheduled it for I ended up having to take my then girlfriend to the hospital, and there were other things going on, and we just couldn't reschedule. And at the end of the day, it was just like, we're gonna do this. Everyone who can be there, and it was just Moon, Muscles, Sky, and I think that it ended up being like super fun, regardless, just with the three of us. And it took some crazy turns, and I was just like, more of this, eh?
Johnny was in.
Can I get some more of
45
that?
minutes for a fucking sack of potatoes.
That's true. I watched that. I put myself through
45
that.
minutes. I'm just going to remind you of that right now. And then I'm going to remind you of the craziness with OC and Greg's character on fucking on the 12-hour stream. That was ridiculous.
It wasn't crazy. It worked, and I got the book. Did we do anything with it this season? No.
You tried to, but
But there's always season 2.
Did we ever wonder where the other 2 books went?
No.
No.
I
don't
kind
care.
of
I don't wanna
the
die.
whole thing with the potatoes taking 45 minutes sums up every Phantom episode that has ever been.
That's very
and
true.
ever
Speedy's
happened.
fault. Now you know it's Speedy's fault. He's the common denominator there.
He set the tone.
It takes us 45 minutes to do anything, or longer.
Yeah,
Phantoms
I'm-
equal sack of
I don't know if you've
potatoes.
noticed, but I'm very bad at doing anything in a timely manner, like finding a place to live and things
Yeah.
like that. So getting
So
a
he
sack
is
of
true to
potatoes,
name.
45
True to
minutes, that's good time for me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I think
go ahead.
I was gonna say I think the Speedy one shot, whether Johnny knew it or not, I think that was the birthplace of the shared world, because he ran the game on my channel, and then when you guys went to the Wandering God, he mentioned there was a redheaded courtesan named Orange Crush, and with her were her courtesan entourage of the Fantas, and
That's
they
a good
were
point
from
that I never
they were from-
considered. In the one shot, we met OC, right?
Mhm. Well, no, you looked across
we-
the bar and you
And
knew
you
her
saw
name.
me.
Yeah, you knew her name. You knew her by
I
name.
knew her.
Yeah, you had seen Orange
You
Crush.
could have
knew her
used
all
that
the way back
much
then.
sooner.
I still haven't seen you this whole time. Like, I've never met you though, so I wouldn't have,
Right. So that was the kind of thing where it was just like a thrown out reference to be able to reference what was going on with from that previous experience and just kind of bring things in. It was more about the cool factor of the name OC or Orange Crush and the Fantas. What this evolved into though was something completely unexpected, right? I mean, because you guys, Mike and Speedy, you guys went off and you cast and you brought these amazing people to the table, and all of a sudden, next thing we know, it's exploded. Like from a gameplay perspective, from a story perspective, from an RP perspective, from fucking ambition. I mean, you guys did a lot in 10 episodes. You really did.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't like, I know Speedy was more ambitious and Mike was more like, just trying to
Frank Underwood.
right.
conniving.
Right, but you guys did so much on each show. It was just unfathomable, really.
The irony is I only played my character that way and that class because you goaded me incessantly to do it. I was like, oh, I'm going to fuck around and play a spider. I haven't played a spider before. And Johnny has this sick fascination that apparently I look like the guy who plays Moriarty in the new Sherlock. And he just kept saying, if you don't play a Moriarty character, you can't play. If you don't play Moriarty, you can't play. And I was like, you know what, fine. And I just took it to like a far extreme. And I was like, Moriarty, Lord Varys, fucking Frank Underwood. I'm just going to put them all in one, and I'm going to play the worst kind of everybody. And he was like, okay, sure.
That's
By the way,
looks
Queen,
like.
that's goad, not goat. Just so we're
Yeah. When he gives me
But
the
what
goats,
if there
it's
were
different.
goats involved? Would it then be goat?
There should be.
That's how he got. That's how he got Louise on the show.
It is.
He
It genuinely
goaded her with
is.
goats.
I'd like to just quickly say, genuinely, part of the one of the things that got me on the show was goats. I was talking to Speedy. I was streaming at the time, and Speedy messaged me. He was like, "By the way, do you want to be in a campaign on my channel?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, cool, great." So I already said yes. And then his next words were, "There will be goats," and I was like, "I'm 100% in. There's nothing, no backing out now." And I was like, "Oh, it's at 1 a.m. my time to 4 a.m. But there's also goats, so yeah, I'm in. I'm in.
How many times
Yeah.
did that picture of you and a goat get posted on Twitter?
Oh,
Many,
I've reposted that picture many times myself.
specifically
just-
many,
It's just Louise hugging a goat. That's all it is.
okay.
from like
It's just
a
so
year
wholesome.
ago.
Yeah.
It's a wholesome goat
It's
picture.
an adorable picture that just it just keeps getting passed around and reposted and reposted. It's great. It's good stuff.
Well, so okay, with everything that happened, somebody asked in chat. I think it was Fire Axel, which is the character that threw the most monkey wrenches into the story for
Ari.
you? For
Ari, hell yes.
All right.
I think for
The
both
first
crews
punch,
across.
and then that's where it started.
I think
Well,
for both
boomerang.
crews.
I
Both
think it
crews.
was
Boomerang, it just
Ari,
kept
yeah.
coming around.
I think it was genuinely Ari that got the Shroud having planning meetings on how do we do things in the future.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's probably what it was. Because it was like, okay, now we have to plan what we were planning before, and how do we also deal with whatever Ari just did. So it was like, okay, how do we maintain the score, the plot we're driving here, our own character plots, our crew plot, and then also simultaneously deal with whatever Ari keeps throwing at us. And it just kept getting higher and higher. The stakes are getting higher and higher.
Yeah. So we started planning, and then Nix went on the need to know basis and dropped the body at the front door, which was a nice surprise for planning.
Surprise for everyone involved. That
Nice
was kind of
surprise for
I
everyone.
would say.
So
Wasn't
now
a
we
surprise
need to
for me.
plan against
I'd
your
say-
own team on how to deal with that.
Sling also threw in a pretty big monkey wrench, which I mean, I probably shouldn't have been surprised by, but by her going out and seeking out the loss to try and get out of the ghost contract, that distracted away from what we were trying to do a lot. It
Mhm.
made it so that we were really focused on each other a lot more than the Shroud or the Foghounds or the destruction of Duskfall as a whole, which I think honestly it added to the story a lot in that way.
Well, so that's an interesting circumstance where the dynamics between two characters, while there was a lot of metagame going on there was also a lot of uncertainty once you discovered that there was something going on, right? The interesting thing about the Ari circumstance, and that happened like at the end of like episode 3, I think, for the Phantom, it threw a monkey wrench in the direction of the Shroud, but it also really kind of connected two characters. And while there wasn't a real conversation that happened prior to that, it really affected OC as a character. Can you, Jinja, can you talk a little bit about how that affected your way of playing the game?
Well, it affected, I was trying not to go down a path of like my history until more towards the end. And I guess it kind of forced me to, it worked out, better as far as getting a little bit more of her backstory, her drive, her, meeting more people from her past. So it was interesting. It'll probably get developed more next season as we clash a little bit more as groups.
If they live to get back in the city.
Even if we die, we'd rise again as phantoms.
We didn't even have to do anything.
That's our plan all along, to become real phantoms.
You know what the worst part about the Shroud season finale is that fucking Speedy was busy and didn't get to see the Bauer Bomb drop the fucking Phantom name in because like we were talking because he made a speech, right? He actually wrote the speech. And Slade was like, the whole time he's like, I gotta give a speech, guys. I gotta give a speech. I'm not ready to give a speech. We're like, you just do the speech. But so we're like in game and we're like writing the speech in Zoom chat back and forth.
Well, what happened was I said, did you write a speech right before we went live, like a minute? He's like, oh.
Yeah, I didn't do a lot. It was about 15 minutes before live stream, and I jump on, and Ginger's there all done up, and I'm just there in a casual t-shirt and jeans. And she's like, did you forget? I was like, shit.
He's like, no, and then literally, I timed it. A minute and 20 seconds later, he comes back in a suit. I'm like, God damn it!
You guys are bastards because I didn't know about that, and I felt.
Yes, you did. We told you about that.
No, nobody's actually said, "Hey, we're dressing up for the finale."
But okay, you weren't in the gala. What are you gonna dress like the big white guy? Just gonna get an albino goat and like a thing. But no, so at the end of the speech,
right, so
we're all putting in pieces of the speech, and he's like making the whole thing. At the end of it, it was something like, a vote for Bowerstone is a vote for your future, and together we can stop these killers and phantoms loose in our streets.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes! But you weren't even fucking there to hear it. And I was like, son of a bitch!
I was there. I was like,
yeah.
I still got
everyone else was like, that was great.
Yeah. I was like,
fine. No one understood what it meant. So
yeah. Johnny was like, guys, you don't know their name. It's not phantoms. I was like, Johnny, phantoms is just another word for ghosts. And he's like,
oh, man, I need to catch up. I was trying to listen to it while I was on my commute home, but I didn't get more than 40 minutes in.
Because I was missing most of your stream mistake because I had to help someone else, and it was like an hour after it was meant to stop, and I text Louise going, oh, sorry, mister, I have to catch. She's like, no, it's still going.
Yeah, it's like, no, we're still live. So.
Went on to like 1:30. It was real long.
Johnny, you did promise on camera while it was being recorded that you were going to put a dress on stream.
Mm-hmm. I will put a dress on for season 2 premiere. How about that? Just for you.
I've heard that before.
Guys, we're gonna everyone remind him every day until season 2 starts.
Yeah, that's
guys, season 2 starts August 9th. August 8th.
August 8th. Well, maybe
August 9th.
Who knows?
August 9th.
There may be a show on the Monday or Tuesday before that. The third crew has not, announced their date yet. So, hey,
that's true.
So it's week of
It means August 9th for you, by the way, Slade.
Thank you. that has happened so many times before. Like, get myself ready. It's like, no, it's tomorrow.
hey,
Slade. Our Wednesday is your Thursday.
This is going to be like a one shot. It's just only going to be a one shot. Season 2 is only a one shot, just for you.
Stop.
Thank you.
It was right after the episode. We're like, all right, so next week, and he's like, what?
Wait, are you gonna? Are you gonna like moon him?
No, are you gonna moon him? That's the question.
Mike, you threw me off so much with that, I just thought it was a one shot, and it was. So we've got 9 more episodes to go. So I'll see you guys next week. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a campaign. Well, thank you for telling me.
How many weeks?
Now, to be clear, Speedy, do you mean moon him by showing him your ass, or moon him by you mean killing his character?
Maybe both.
Oh no!
It's gonna kill me by
That's
showing
how-
his ass.
By showing his ass.
Ghost Alderman.
Because he could take the vial that has moon in it. No.
No,
I'm not-
no, thank you, no. I don't want that to happen, no.
And he's got a real reason to scream.
So I gotta ask, out of curiosity, what made you go break muscles out of jail?
Me?
Or I think didn't Grin do it?
No.
No.
So no, the blue coats dropped him off basically at our front door. Well, Muscles was, I think, leading them to Donovan's or there to help point out who Sky was to them.
Sky told them to kill him in jail.
Yeah.
And then he shows up in the place like, hey, I'm alive.
Yeah, but why did that happen, Sky? Why did they have to come and talk to you? What was going on there? I mean, seriously.
I don't know. Sky doesn't know.
Things
for sure.
went wrong.
I don't know.
Sky.
That was Hocus's fault.
How is that Hocus's fault?
Because he came up with this plan to, hey, the Foghounds are going to be moving all this Leviathan stuff, and then we put a shit ton of effort into figuring out exactly how we're going to do it, and then only later realize, oh wait, it's not them. Shit, everything that we should have just gone and dealt with the blue coat issue. Fuck.
Yeah.
So it was all him.
That was the funniest episode for me.
It was great. I was so
It
happy.
was just that
Because
moment
it was
after
so
like,
mad.
an hour of planning. I was like, oh yeah, Sling's going to go and she's going to actually do some research. We're going to find out what's going on with the Foghounds. And we're like, yeah, they're not doing anything. So I'm like, hang on, wait. Rewind.
Yeah,
What was
because
that?
I'm sitting there. So I didn't have a stream that night, so I tuned in for the entire thing, and I'm sitting there, and the entire time I'm messaging Johnny, and I was like, "Wait, what boat are they attacking? They're waiting for a boat to come in. Do they think it's the Foghound boat? Do they know that's a Leviathan Hunter boat?" And he's like, "They don't." And I was like, "They know the Leviathan Hunter boats have like 20 squads of Marines and elite Whispers and Void Sailors." Do they know they're gonna die? The whole crew's gonna die. And he's like, no, they can stop the score. And I was like, if they stop the score, they still get entanglement, they still get rep, they still get heat. I was like, they're so fucked. They're all going to prison. And it was like 2 hours in that Friday Sling was like, hey, what boat's the Foghound boat? The one over there in the harbor?
That's not a Foghound boat.
I was like, no, they figured it out. I was like, they were so fucked. They were so fucked for so long.
So awesome.
That was great.
That's why when the other night or last night when you were saying embrace the failure, I'm like, I have been doing that.
It's not the entire season up until yesterday was us embracing failure.
Yep.
I don't know if I'd call it a failure. I think that there was a lot of things that happened for Phantom, especially when you guys came together as a crew after there being all of those circumstances that, could potentially divide you even further. You guys all came together and kind of had that kumbaya moment with your hands all in the center. So I think that there are a number of significant events from a role-playing perspective, from a character development perspective, that was amazing. I mean, that was one of the things that I absolutely loved watching was just this play of things that where you guys would get totally lost in something, and the next thing you know, it's like, oh shit, we're almost done. How did we get here?
Which is why I think, and I was going to propose this in chat, but I'll just do it right here so everyone can hear it. I think that both crews, and maybe even the third crew, it's going to be harder for the third crew though, but both crews, Shroud and Phantom, I think you need to watch the other crew's thing. Because if there's anything I saw was that Shroud had planning and scores and meta plot locked down. But if you ask me anything about OC or anything about Bowerstone or anything about Vale, I have no idea. We did so little character RP, and then you guys always fumbled your scores last second, and you didn't plan until the very end. But you guys did so much character RP, and you guys have such elaborate backstories, and you guys would jump in and play NPCs, and you could do asides where Sling has her own thing and Hocus is doing his own thing. And I was like, no wonder they don't get to scores. They have the fucking hardcore background here. It's this is right. I was like, what the hell? Yeah, but I think we each have something to learn because I didn't even think I focused so much on the being a criminal aspect that I was like, I don't really care about these characters. I want them to help me do crimes. And I was like, yeah.
There was a huge shift, though, for you guys in the last couple episodes, though. Raymond decided that the Bauer bomb was going to go away.
Yeah.
OC sent away Nye for a while, and she came back to her. So there's trouble there. There's some conflict there that's brewing. So I think season 2 for you guys is going to be a lot more of that background or exploring different aspects of your character as well. Because you guys did a lot of setup for it, and honestly, Nyx is the only one I think that is still being so elusive that all he wants to do is take over the world and murder people.
Well,
He hasn't read my letter yet.
That's true. Yeah, Nyx hasn't revealed what his motivation was, because he's not just a megalomaniac. I mean, he is, but he has a larger grand plot, and he just hasn't told anyone. In fact, I don't know what I know that I know that OC has one, and I know that Bower Stone has one. I just don't know what it is. We haven't just, like I said, we haven't done inter-character growth. Yeah, right? We haven't done like inter-party growth. We just sort of were like, okay, here's what we need, and we all needed it. We're like, okay, we're at a race for power, and everyone was like, race for power is a good idea. I like power. I could use more of it. And then we just did.
Power's good. Power's good.
For our season finale, we planned that episode 5, episode 3 for the gala.
So the gala.
I thought it was for the gala.
Episode 2 or 3 was when we started. We're like, we'll have a gala for episode 10 and do a gala.
Yeah,
it'd be great.
It was like for episode 6 though, because the season finale was coming up, and I was like, "Hey Mike, have you seen Game of Thrones?" He's like, "Yeah, I've seen Game of Thrones," and then I just sent him the GIF of the church blowing up from wildfire.
Spoilers. Spoiler alert.
And I was just we're doing that.
Yeah.
I think we did do a little bit of our backstories though. Like Slade's character and mine kind of meshed a little bit with like building, having the similar project and a few going on a few missions together and things like that. And everyone just ignoring the fact that we all knew he was Bauer Bomb.
Right.
The Bauer, with what's happened in the season finale, I'm not gonna lie, the way the Bauer Bomb started and the way he ended, it was the worst Batman I think it has ever been played.
George Clooney.
Even had their suit with the nipples. But when it came, what was it, like episode 4 when we went to the Red Sashes, and it was getting all the bombs and everything set up, and none of the bombs worked. Everything failed, and then we get to the wagon. It's like, okay, I'm going to take these guys out, and he falls on his ass. And just nothing happens. At that point, I was like, yeah, this guy sucks. This is a Batman.
There was one point where we did bring this up in the show, and it really didn't get covered again at any point. And that was not just the aspect that that Shroud does a lot more planning and that Phantom does a lot more RP, but the characters themselves, the two teams, that Shroud is comprised of much younger people than Phantom is, save for Sling. That in Phantom, all the characters are much older except for Sling, and we don't have the opulent backgrounds of being from wealthy families and all this other stuff, and so it's further separating this clash of cultures between the two. And I thought that was
like a class war and an age war,
kind of, in a way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so one of the other things that I mean, and this is where I want to kind of acknowledge. I want to talk about something that's a little bit was a little bit delicate, but I want to acknowledge the presence of Lisa during the first 9 episodes of the show, and she was amazing in respect to the RP, and she brought a lot of that to the table, and she also did a bunch of the story development that went along with that. And sad that it did not work out, but at the end of the day, there was some of that going on, and a lot of the plot development and a lot of the story development that was happening on that side that wasn't directly related to a score definitely involved her character kind of coming up and doing all of that. So I definitely want to acknowledge how amazing she was in in her voice acting and in the portrayal of her character. It was just I just want to make sure that we highlight that as a part of this conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but with all of that going on, you guys are all, the ending of season 1 for The Shroud was a little less dramatic than the ending for Phantom, but there's no less level of uncertainty, I guess, or there's about an equal amount of uncertainty for what's going to happen for you guys. both parties or both crews received a letter from some mysterious individual. Nyx received it, directly at, from the person that is kind of hiding there. But there's still a level of, uncertainty about what's going to happen next, especially for Phantom, who is in a position where, holy shit, you're outside of the lightning barrier. You've just destroyed one of the towers. You're in, essentially a haunted situation. So where do you guys want to see season 2 start? I was going to have this conversation privately, but I think this is an awesome opportunity to, just kind of throw it out there and, evolve into the season 2 conversation, which is, should we start with a prologue or an epilogue to season 1 to resolve those issues, or should we just have it happen?
It's a good question. I kind of think that it might be worth playing through what happens with us trying to get back through the lightning barrier. Just because I feel like there's a lot of ways for that to go wrong, and
there's many ways for that to go wrong.
And for us to just kind of skip forward and say that, yeah, we all made it fine, or to decide off screen kind of what happened might feel a little cheap. But at the same time, I think that it might be better narratively to do so, to give ourselves a little bit of time to say that, to not have to jump straight back into action and be able to say, all right, we need to talk about what just happened after we've made it, I'm open to suggestions from either perspective.
I think with the third team... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, our initial plan was to have season 2 for Phantom in Eruvia, wasn't it? And not be in the city.
Well, that's actually a really good thing to highlight. You guys, your plan was significant. You expected Duskvold to fall and to be on a nice, happy boat someplace else. What was the motivation behind that? I think that's kind of illuminating into where you guys will be going with season 2.
Well, I think you first need to figure out, what was the plan? Was it a team plan, or was it individual characters? Because the only reason that Hocus had any plan of going back to Eruvia is that he left because he didn't want anything left to do with being a Whisper at all, and he left everything behind. He left his identity, he left everything except for his Whisper Guard, which he feels protects him, which it does. But and then he scrapped it all and created an entirely new person as far from Eruvia as he could get. And now that what's happened to him, all of that planning, all of that effort is gone, and so all he has left is to fall back on his heritage, and that means going back to Eruvia, where if he's close enough to the well, he doesn't have to deal with spirits at all. But so his plan to go to Eruvia, it's entirely selfish. The fact that everybody else is talking about going there, okay, fine, I'll help. But if everybody else was like, no, we're going to Skovlin, it's like, okay, well, you have to go kind of south and then back up the other side, unless you're going straight across, and I'm not helping you with that. So you guys go that way, I'll go this way, say, ciao. And that's it. But everybody's plans aligned, so that's why he was going along with it. So now he doesn't know what the hell he's going to do.
And certainly for Sling's plan was, initially she just wanted to get out of the contract and then pretty much just go home and leave the city and never come back to this place again. But then she kind of came to the realization that she can't just leave this group that she's made, regardless of how well or not they got on at that time. She couldn't do what she did before in her own backstory and leave, and she didn't want to spend her entire life running away from things. So she was going to stick with the crew and do this one big last hurrah and help them, and then once everybody's safe and out, she was going to go. But now they're all stuck in the city, and her new plan is get everybody the fuck out of the city because we're fucked. That's the plan.
And maybe grab as many goats as you can on the way out.
Get as many goats as I can on the way.
That was one of the things I liked about the Phantoms, was that everything at any point in time was tumultuous. If you look at any episode, everything, like, you guys ended, usually always ended on a positive note, but the entire episode was like, someone wants to kill someone in the party, someone in the party wants to kill someone outside of the party, and someone outside wants to kill someone inside. And I'm like, how are you so, why is everyone dying all the time? I think it was like episode 2, everyone that had a ghost contract was like, okay, so does killing Sky relieve us of the ghost contract? And I was like, it's the second episode. You have 8 more to go. What are you doing? And that was every episode was like the Sling thing, going to find the Lost. I know Hocus tried to get out of his at one point. Gwen tried to get out of his at one point. I was like, oh no. I was like, what's the plot going to happen? How is Speedy going to make this happen? Like rules misunderstandings aside, because we all had rules misunderstandings the entirety of the show. Viewers, don't be misconstrued about that. We were confused and got lost several times at rules, but like just role playing wise, everyone unanimously was like, okay, so we got to kill Speedy to get out of these contracts, and I was like, that wasn't his plan at all. I was like, how do we recover from this? Yeah, that was like a lot of episodes where like, there's inter-party conflict, exterior party conflict. I was like, oof, this is dramatic.
Yeah. I mean,
fucking dramatic.
Honestly, after day 1, I was like a little bit shocked. Kind of almost at the way I did it myself. I was like, I may have just screwed myself over there. And as players like were starting to like plot against me, I was like, oh no. But like after just taking a little while to think about it, I was like, I'm totally fine with them killing Sky if that's what it comes to. I would love that story-wise. Sky would hate it.
Yeah.
But story-wise, it would be fantastic if they were to turn against him and kind of take Phantom from it.
Because like in your episode 1, all the characters except for Madame Gandalf's character saw you kill an old party member for insubordination. So they're like, okay, so he already has killed his own friends, and now we're under a contract. So it's like narratively, no one knows you that well, and they have no problem killing you. I was like, Speedy's dead. I was like, that was not the plan. Speedy's dead. I hope he has a backup character.
Well, and that brings us. That brings us up through to the storyline where Sling decides that she's going to go off and try to figure out a way to get him killed, because that's the assumption. That's the only way that's going to happen. Which leads to one of my favorite parts of the Phantom side, which is Jinx Go-Topher.
Jinx Go-Topher.
And it surprises me when I think about that. It's like how much has come out of that and where that story has developed to. It's unbelievable. I mean, but it started with just a joke, right?
The Jinx Go-Topher, yes, it was. If I can pull up exactly what it was in my Discord, it was when Joff and I were talking during stream. You were like, "Oh, we'll continue here. You two like figure out, get your story straight and think about this thing." So we were going to go. I said, the Lost said to us, "Okay, you have a plan. What is it?" And you were like, "You guys have a plan. Think of it," whilst I talk to the rest of them. And so we were just in our own little personal chat, having a gossip, like, "Oh, we need to figure out what's going on." And then we decided that we're going to have like some kind of contact in the Scotland Army that had gotten out of a contract at some point doing something, and he's kind of like a legendary rumor kind of guy. Just going to interrupting myself here, talking about killing Speedy. I just read this letter from me. Should we try and kill him? I'm so stressed. Ross, Speedy would never forgive me. Same. Oh my god.
I would forgive you.
There's a lot of caps lock. There's a lot of screaming.
Wasn't there? I think there was something that you guys were talking about how he got his name. That like every
it was. We said the same thing at the same time. So we said Jinx. I think one of the things we said at the same time was Goat. The first plan was we break the contract and I shoot Sky. Wait, no, I mean maybe. Then there was turn Sky over to Nyx. That was another plan that we had.
That's a good plan. That would have worked.
Here it is. Okay, so like we got this whole connection thing, and at the same time we were like, what shall we call him? And simply we put down a goat related name, and then we were just like, well, Jinx, that's his name. His name is Jinx Go-Topher, and that's officially it. There we go. And so much great came from that.
So I think
wrote
that's
13 pages.
That's
13 pages, because I was deliriously tired at the end of that stream, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it, yeah, I'll do 10 pages. Come at me, I promise.
So
and then,
I think. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
So like I finished the stream, and I was like, what have I done? what have I done?
I think that's one of the big peek behind the curtain things that, like, from the viewer perspective, you can't see. So like we had we have an entire Discord just for 6 and 20 for all the members, and it's broken down to like crews and different aspects of how you assist the stream. But then I have a private chat with Johnny. I have a private chat with Speedy. I know that Slade and Ginge have a private chat with Johnny, and then me, Slade, and Ginge have a private chat with Johnny, and then me and Slade and so everyone has groups of private chats all over the place. So none of the things that happened on stream were necessarily a secret to anyone on that show. Like even I would talk to Johnny, like, okay, here's what we're planning. We're gonna blow up this thing. Power Stone's gonna do something really big. I'm not gonna give you the full details, but it's gonna be big and it's gonna be politically. He's like, okay, cool, because it's such a game of improv that I want to give the DM, as a DM myself, I want to give the DM just enough so that he can have something to latch onto to plan. Because throwing the big things we threw at him on both crews, that's like deer in the headlights, and you can scramble and be like, oh fuck, I didn't even ever think of going political with this. How do I prepare for this kind of thing? So I would feed him little bits, and I would do it to other people, and I would do it to Speedy. I'm like, hey, Speedy, if you need to know Nyx, you can know Nyx this way. We had several conversations going on that way, because originally the plan was for me and Speedy to team up and just fuck over Johnny the whole stream for sheer comedic value.
It was a brilliant idea, but
that fell horribly to the wayside.
Well, so I have a question about that, because you guys did. I mean, when we decided that this was all going to happen, right? You both were like, all right, this is great. We've got our crews. We're going to do this. Oh, we're going to plot against you. And I'm like, okay. And I know that you guys had a couple of conversations. And the one thing I asked is if there was any correspondence between Nyx and Sky, that it happens, like I give you a handout or something, but it gets documented in some way so that we can refer to it at some point. So maybe somebody found that letter or whatever, and it would come to the game, into the gameplay.
Yep.
The question I have is, or actually I have a two-part question. Number one was, did you guys ever actually commit any communication between Sky and Nyx? Sounds like no. And number two, how much of that got thrown out the window when Ari threw the monkey wrench in episode 3 and basically targeted OC?
We had plans as well once that happened.
Yep.
Violet and I were plotting a little bit, and then I was like, no, let's just see how it goes. And then it was messing with the establishment, and then I was like, okay, we're gonna. And so we started typing things out, and I remember talking to Mike about Nyx doing something, and that's when I was like, well, you are violent, and killing someone isn't really something that you would throw out the window as an idea. So have fun, as long as I get to watch. So kind of spiraled from like, I was like, Johnny, can we kill other characters in the other ship? No, that's too much. And then we worked our way back to okay, we found the right spot to do something.
When I know it was a collaborative world, I thought it'd be hints of Easter eggs of the other team being there, like debris from damage of their squad, and then Ari comes in contact.
That was so unexpected but so great. We were just like, how can we reduce heat? And Ari was just like, well,
I have an idea.
Yeah, I think all of the correspondence between Speedy and I happened in either Discord chat or Twitch chat, and it was like I would be watching their show, the end of their show, and it would be like, hey, if you need this, Nyx knows this person, you can do a flashback. Nope, if you need this, Nyx knows this, you can do a flashback. What's the deal with this? Nyx might know something about that. And that's pretty much how it went back and forth was, okay, Sky does this. And I was like, cool, I might know you this way. Like we had plans like he's a smuggler. I might have gone into Donovan's. And then in game, it just never came to pass. So in game, we never did the correspondence via handouts or anything. We just
there were a few times when it came close where Mike had suggested something in chat, if you need this piece of information, you could possibly get it from Nyx. But it ended up being a piece of information that I didn't really need, or it didn't make sense for me to throw in that connection there. So it ended up not actually coming to be. But there were a lot of talks actually off screen on Discord about the possibility your family. I don't know if this is a spoiler. I think it was discussed. Your family in game were smugglers, right?
My family in game, more or less, they're smugglers. My family in game is essentially the floating mafia.
Right.
So smuggling was in their purview.
Right. So we thought about having some sort of connection there, but never fleshed anything out as to how exactly that would be the case.
Yeah, because Nyx's backstory is that he was part of the floating mafia out in Dagger Isles, but then when his family was killed, he came through Eruvia, which is where Speedy's from, where Sky's from, and then into Dustball that way. So there's plenty of time for him to know who the hell he is to get up there, smuggling Aruvia, Duskfall, and I think Sky was relatively new to the city. Is that true? Or he's only been there for like a few years, something like that.
No, Sky been there his whole life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So there was plenty of opportunity for Nyx to have seen him coming up, or Sky to see Nyx coming up, but it never reared its ugly head in game. And then the Ari thing happened, and then it was like, oh, okay, nope, there's no, yeah, because I mean, realistically,
technically, we
Still
could
could
have,
yes,
because it at that point all we knew was it was about OC, and
Right.
from OC's perspective, it was all about Ari. And
yeah.
Nyx and Sky still had no connection at that point, technically.
Yep.
So
it
we
was
could have
probably
still.
it was probably
and then
right
it would have been that would have been interesting pulling at different strings there. Like
Yeah.
if we're trying to be allies, and you're like, "Hey, take care of. Could you help me take care of these people?" And
Yeah.
we're like, wait, we're those.
We're
people.
like, we're these people. So I think the Ari thing was the monkey wrench, and the Clav thing was the nail in the coffin. It was the final nail in the coffin. That was like,
Yeah.
nope, there's no coworkers in this one.
And there was also the fact that, you know, established very early on was that Chimes and Hocus knew each other, not extraordinarily well, but they both knew each other as Whispers. And she had written to Hocus saying, "We're looking into this professor who's gone missing. Can you check and see if you heard of anything?" And so I was waiting for a time that I could reply, and eventually did, but that was like episode 4.
Yeah.
So it's like, sorry, I haven't been able to get back to you, but I was fully prepared for the likelihood that I might have to guest on the other show when Hocus shows up and at House Vale and is standing there talking, and then Nyx walks in with OC, and it's like, "Oh, hello, how's it going?" Blah, blah, and we finish our conversation and then leave. And then episodes later, Hocus is standing there in all of his Whisper garb, and you guys walk in, and he's like, "Oh no!"
Yeah.
And he finally, because you wouldn't recognize him, but he's like, "Oh,
Right.
I know."
But he would recognize, yeah.
Right, and I was like, "Oh, we need to go right now." But that again never came to pass. So
That's like the Shroud finding Eden. So there was never a time where we were worried that you would find actual Eden, but we knew you'd find the church because the church is out there in the open. So I think that Sling never showed you guys the full letter, but I intentionally left the letter in the open as like a welcome to the Garden of Eden. I already knew you were coming. Here's this letter. But she took it and was like, "Oh no!"
I was like, "No, this isn't important. Nobody else has to
Fed into the
read
goats.
this."
Yeah. How weird. I like
This is
paper too.
strange paper. I'll add it to my paper collection.
There was a time that I wrote 2 letters. I wrote one for Sling and I wrote one for Ari, and then I sent them both to Johnny, and he was like, "Please write letters for everybody." And I was like, "I don't have a reason to write, and I don't know anyone's name except for Sling and Ari." I was like, "So I can't write them letters." But they were pretty juicy.
Well, the
Pretty
Ari
good
one
letters.
was also really entertaining and it had the same the same humorous tone, but the threats were very different, or the implied threats were very different. So
They
I
weren't
So-
threats. We carried
So, all right, so here you go. So because it's over and it's not going to happen again. So the Ari letter says, "Dearest Ari, I must commend you on your subtle art of persuasion. You are a woman after my own heart. Charming someone in the employ of your enemy. Devious indeed, deliciously devious. Not that I would know anything about that," which is a nod to Sling's letter. "And while I can certainly appreciate your desire to feel vindicated and the need to protect what you have, I must insist that you cease and desist this insipid little feud. In a city as big as this, there are so many more important things that someone of your skill could be handling. And if I were to be completely honest, I fear that your continued pursuit of this obsession would result in even more of your friends being left in a similar state as your charming young escort. Warmest regards, Nyx. P.S. I too was shocked to learn you can bottle a dead ghost."
Savage.
Yeah. He was like, "Please write letters for everyone." And I was like, "I can't. I don't know anyone
That was
else.
a great letter.
I don't know anyone
There's
else."
some good like alliteration and assonance in there.
I'll
I
have
was
to-
It makes you
planning-
sound really slimy.
that
I was
the
planning
goal.
on
That was the goal.
showing the letter that you wrote to Sling to Phantom once the season ended, but then like during the last episode, I was like, because I wanted to send one back, and
Yeah.
I was like, we didn't have time because everything started going horribly wrong, and I was like, I don't have time to go back to the church. And then I was messaging Johnny during the stream. I was like, it could be possible I could just give it to one of the Rooks who I
Mhm.
believe work for you, and they can pass it on to you. And so I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to do it. And so now I will not be sharing with Phantom, sadly, the original letter because drama and suspense.
Yeah, I spent like 45 minutes writing the Sling letter,
That's
and
okay.
everything was carefully chosen to like turn the party on Sling. And I was like, boop, let's see what happens. I was like, because knowing how Speedy plays Sky, I was like, there's no way he doesn't like lose it on her having read this letter. And I was like, let's see what happens.
That's why I was like, there's no letter.
Yeah.
I saw some writing on the wall that said that this thing happened, but not on paper. Wouldn't it be convenient if there was a paper version? Wow. Crazy. Anyway, I'm going to go start the goat and I'll see you outside.
Johnny, you had a thought.
Well, I was actually going to ask. I was going to jump back into, because the way you guys are talking about these letters is an example of Nyx's manipulation of the circumstances. He's always plotting and planning, and I think that because both Speedy and Mike are playing spiders, we're seeing two really different approaches to it, right? You know, there's a lot more control and manipulation directly of the people working for him on Speedy's side, but on Mike's side, there's more collaboration with those people that he's working with Nyx's side, so that he can gain. You know, it's a bigger picture kind of a thing. Like he's looking at the picture differently, and I think that highlights the two crews as very different types of approaches that are very different, right? And so, talking about the Shroud for a second, you guys are all about the manipulation of the nobles, all about the manipulation of the politics of the system. Now you manipulated the factions around Crowsfoot, which was something I completely did not expect. I mean, that's the conflict in Crowsfoot is one of the starting situations that's recommended in the core book, and I wasn't really going to play that up, but you guys went straight for that shit. So can you guys talk about the motivation there, and specifically how each one of you like played into the circumstances of deciding that the faction you wanted to take, you basically wanted to manipulate and take control of Crowsfoot in a way, because it starts with you, Mike, and then it goes to Jinja, and eventually Bowerstone steps up in a huge way towards the end. Like it's like you guys, the planning just was. It seemed a little bit different than it was very different than the experience that Phantom was going through.
So I can't speak for the other two, and they can jump in as needed. But I literally just did it. Like I felt like Nyx's character didn't really give a shit about that book, because he overheard once OC brought the book in, he overheard kind of what it was for and was like, oh, that could be useful information. But he doesn't deal with the arcane things. So he was like, okay, Vale has that handled. I'm going to go do other things. And I literally just jumped in and like started cultivating an asset for no reason. And I was like, well, let's see what I can do with this. And then everyone started jumping in. So everyone else jump in and explain how you jumped in and why was your motivation to jump in?
OC hasn't really discussed her desires and her, what she's really trying to do. And there's a reason her backstory hasn't really been explained, because, having a backstory or like the conflict with Ari is just still part of when I was already living here and when I was opening up my first two, establishments, and when I, was first getting into it. So I haven't really gone into that yet, season 2. But having establishments in more places means more information, more girls walking around knowing things and getting more information back to me. Having, Bowerstone using the same hideout was beneficial for her, because he is a person of power. He, his family carries weight with the name. And, having Nyx to do all the dirty work makes it a lot easier for me. I don't have to get my dress dirty.
Yeah, there have been several conversations about the attitude Nyx takes towards players, and I tried to do it as subtly as possible because I think that has the most weight to it, is that when Nyx comes in, Nyx doesn't give a shit about any of the characters at the table. Like Nyx knows his goal, and his goal is, I'm sure people have pieced it together because there have been several times where he's hinted at it. Nyx's goal has something to do with Northcliffe Company and a severe hatred for them. But at first he looked at everyone at the party or everyone at the meeting as pawns to help him gain power. OC has a network of ladies all over the city, powerful. They know people, they know contacts in the nobles. Slade is a noble, and as far as Nyx was concerned, he's a bumbling moron, and he dresses up in a mask and cape like a jackass. He's like, I'm going to use that. I'm going to, like, worst case, he gets killed and I take his estate. Vale is a powerful name, and she does all the magic things. So he was like, everyone is a pawn. And I think it wasn't until Ari started fucking with the crew and OC came to Nyx and was like, I need your help. And I was like, oh, you're a person. And I was like, that's okay. I kind of like you as a person now. I realized over the course of several missions that I kind of care about you as a person. Let me help you. And then that same episode, Vale said, hey, this is my family member. Can we help my family member? And I was like, fuck, you're a person too, not an object for my power. And then really, he didn't have that moment with Bowerstone, but he had that moment with Slade when Slade was like, I'm gonna run for government. And I was like, yes, you are. I totally have your back.
I think it was about episode 2 or 3. I won't mention who sent it to me, but I got a message in Discord and they're like, hey, is everything okay between you and Mike? Because your characters in game are not like each other. I was like, yeah, we're fine. This is all in character. We're completely fine.
Well, so one of the first circumstances that we see between Nyx and Raymond is Nyx taking his jacket.
Oh, you dick. I was so happy to get that back. It's so nice. It was just
Did you leave a note in it? Did you leave a note in the jacket, or are we going to get to that later?
We'll get to that later.
Did you leave a fart in the jacket?
I gave him the jacket, and he went to go put it on, and the first thing I told him when I looked back at him was, if you put that jacket on, the gun in the sleeve will shoot you.
Spring-loaded pistol.
And then he put it over his shoulder and left.
I just remember that, because the way our first character interactions was he literally held out his hand, and I put the jacket on his hand and just left. And then he took the jacket, and I was like, yeah, I deserve that. I want that jacket.
I think as we started, like you said, having like personal conflict and like, I need help. I helped you out. I don't remember what it was. I think it was like giving you so you could like relieve stress, beating up people that I needed you to beat up. Like things like that, as it became like mutually understood that we needed each other's help. It was kind of the developmental point where it was like, oh, huh.
Yeah,
we also had issues.
It started out as how does Nyx use everyone? And then it became how does the Shroud help itself, like help each other? And how does Nyx use everyone else?
In a weird way, just to bring Joff into this, is that we also saw that in a lot of the character art that he wound up doing for both teams, is that when the first iteration of it, basically everybody was standing in a line on both teams, and then when he redid them, you've got all of Shroud, you've got the two ladies on the couch, and then the two men behind it, but it brings it around. It makes it a more of a group thing rather than a bunch of people standing in a line. And with the Phantom side, now you've got Ari kind of leaning back on Sky, and then of course Hocus is still kind of leaning off like don't touch me because he doesn't like being touched. And so it's like but it all kind of echoes together, and I thought it was very, very cool how it all came together like that.
There's definitely something like at the very end of the season, there was something that I saw both Mike and Ginger do, and it was when Raymond got up on the podium and he nodded to each of them, and I saw Mike nod back, and then I saw Ginger nod back and sort of give him a wink. And it was sort of at that point that I was like, this is a cool unified moment. And then he gave the speech. For me, the way that all came around then, I really like that. That for me was just...
Well, and I think so anxious up until that point. I wasn't even doing this speech, and I was sitting there like...
Butterflies are like...
I was like, I'm so glad I don't have to talk. I wrote out what he was going to say for Ari. That was... Or not Ari, Nyx. Nye, sorry.
What do you want?
That was sitting there, though, like waiting for it. I was just like...
The caps locks were just like, I'm so excited!
But so the way you describe that, your response to that and the whole, the acknowledgement back and forth, I think that moment, the culmination of the gala, you all being there, the explosion that happened in Crowsfoot, that was the moment that the Shroud finally came together in a significant way as equals. Episode 9 for Phantom was... that was their moment of everybody coming together. This was your moment in episode 10 of everybody coming together, and it just being, the culmination, which is, I think, really interesting and exciting because going into a second set of episodes, a season 2, while there's still conflict, there's still stuff to be done. You all are engaged and ready to go, essentially. So,
which is the most terrifying thing, that I have to bring in a new fourth player and make them fit the dynamic, or like break them into the character or that kind of thing. So I'm not looking forward to that.
Well, and then
No
let's
pressure to the new person.
I think building
What's
a backstory into one of our characters, and then being like, this is someone I trust. This is whatever, we lost one of our more important, most important members, who's our Whisper. Here's our new character. And I think it'll be like the first 2 episodes, like you said, where it was kind of like everyone, fucking fend for yourselves. It'll be like that for an episode. And then it'll be, especially Nyx's character, I can just see like kind of developing like, okay, now we need you. Now you're one of us, I guess.
Yeah.
This raises a question. Johnny, did you have something you wanted to say? Right?
No, I think I know where you're actually going to go with this, but go ahead.
With you guys picking up a new person and us picking up a third crew, are these guys starting at 0, or are they going to be leveled up to something that is even remotely close?
Well, so that's a real interesting question, and so let's jump into essentially season 2 and those elements. From my perspective, I think it's kind of interesting if there's a young, scrappy crew that's just coming in and trying to upset the current shift in power that's currently being Phantom is a tier 1 with a strong hold. You guys are almost a tier 2. Shroud just, went to a tier 2. You guys are reasonably powerful now. Somebody coming in and getting incredibly scrappy, they can be ambitious and do a bunch of scores and, kind of push that all forward quickly. I think it's interesting if those characters come in fresh, right? But
even look at season 1. We were so far behind Phantom. You guys were tier 1 weak hold and working well into stronghold before we were even close to tier 1. I was like, oh shit. I was like, I need to plan some scores here. That actually, that was the motivation to start fucking with people in Crowsfoot. I was like, we're gonna get our shit on right now. Yeah, I was like, they were just they were knocking out like 2 scores a session, like the first 2 or 3 episodes, and I was like, we knocked out
doing
1.
2 scores a session.
No. Well, you did like I think for the first 3 episodes you did 1
score
each
a session.
Yeah, and we did 1 in 3, and I was like,
stupid game.
Yeah, but then you ended up
shit.
doubling up on yours,
Yeah.
and we ended up doing downtime and free play for entire episodes as well.
Right,
so
which then got eventually.
This new crew could do that. They could skyrocket just as quickly. They could swap back and forth.
Yeah, but there are some. But this is where we come into the whole fast and loose thing about the rules, and there were many things that where we just kind of glossed it over, or we said, well, story makes sense. Let's just do this. But you guys also. Mostly on the Phantom side, but it did happen once, I think, for the Shroud. Certain circumstances turned from, hey, this was just free play or this was downtime, and let's deal with entanglements an entire episode, guys. Phantom, let's just talk about that. We called those a score because mechanically it made sense, right? Because there was so much role play, there was so much intensity going on, and so for season 2. We'll clarify what makes sense, what is a score and what is a not a score, even when it comes into those situations. But it's just like this new crew, I think it's perfectly fine. Granted, long story short, we'll talk to the third crew when we bring them on. We have to have that relationship. We need to build that relationship with them and welcome them in and see where they're thinking at. They may have a good reason why it makes sense for them to come in as a tier 1 crew, right?
Plus,
if they're moving from another city.
Exactly.
Yeah. With the way the leveling system works in the game, because I think I've done a playbook advancement like 7 or 8 times, but that doesn't make me any stronger than than Speedy's character Sky. Like I was looking at your character sheet yesterday when you brought it up on screen, and you have 3 pips in a couple things. I have 2 pips in most things. So like right off the bat, you roll higher than me normally. And I've advanced 7 or 8 times, and the crew we took, I think so. It really depends on how you level up your crew, and like with the addition of like your friends can aid you, the devil's bargain, the pushing yourself. You don't need to level up to gain all these extra die rolls. It's not like you're gaining bonuses to a die; you're gaining additional die. So your chance is equally good to fuck up. It's 1 in 6 chance. You just have multiple 1 in 6 chances, and you can get them by any kind of other means. Which is why Nyx hasn't put any points in, or why I haven't put any points in Nyx's the rest of the stats, because I know I can rely on my players, the other players, to help with that. And Nyx's, Mike is self-deprecating role player, so I'll take devil's bargains and stress all the time. I think I started episode 1. I started episode 1 with devil's bargain just because to introduce the mechanic.
Yep.
And Johnny was like, "Why are you doing this?" And I was like, Fuck it. That's why. Why not?
Well, it also depends what you want to do. So we've been leveling up our crew and like you said, the playbook things. I don't use half of it. So because I don't know what OC wants to do at any given time.
Yeah.
So it's like, we don't even use half the crew upgrades we're using. That wouldn't matter.
Well, and
I used most of mine to get Goat and then to talk to Goat, and I've never been happier. It worked out so well.
I think that's one of the big benefits of starting at tier 0, level 1, is because you now get to grow into your character. Like if you just start cramming things in, you're like, okay, I've advanced several times, boom, 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 here's all the stuff. You don't know why you have that or what its actual use for in the game is, especially as like new players. But I think mechanically speaking, there's not a huge difference between a level 0 and us. And then there is a huge benefit to it because you get to learn how the rules play. You get to learn how your roles do. You get to learn how your abilities affect your roles and how you want to play.
There's a massive benefit for a third crew coming in that are unknown in the city at the moment. With everything that's going on in the city, a crew that nobody knows, that's probably more powerful than what we have currently.
Yeah. I got real nervous when you announced a third crew because I thought, 2's crazy, 3's chaos.
Don't worry, he thinks
places of the city blowing up at the same time is going to be
Let's all blow up barriers together. Let's come together. Let's take down the barriers.
Mike, I, and whoever the leader of the other crew ends up being are gonna probably have a separate Discord just to talk about how we can fuck over Johnny.
Yeah,
right. That's part of the plan.
Yeah,
so
that's the plan. Yeah,
that's something that's I think is really interesting is the cross coordination between the crews. Again, it didn't work out the way you guys expected, but I hope it does. But I'm very curious to see how the dynamics of the third crew, because in some cases initially it was strictly it was very focused on Nick's kind of taking control on the Shroud side. But he wasn't playing like he was. He was always pushing it off. But it was obvious that he was kind of driving it, and so Sky was doing it on that side. But as things came up, the power shift really went from all right, it's these people and it's these people just kind of directing things. It kind of shifted between players between certain circumstances. I mean, let's talk about the entanglements episode with Hocus. Hocus basically took over that situation and said, this is the right thing to do, let's go do this. And Sky was like, and everybody else on Phantom was like, yeah, that's great, but this was the right thing to go do, right? And so I'm very curious to see how the dynamics there, because it's a completely different group coming in. They're kind of fresh. They may go back and watch you guys' episodes for season 1, but they may do something completely different. And so I'm very curious to see the dynamic there. As a game master, that excites me. Although I would argue that Slade is right. I'm absolutely crazy and it needs to be taken out back and shot.
Yeah. Okay. You need to take pills for it.
I didn't say that. But...
I think that that's true. That's true. Sling does have a gun.
I have a gun.
I think that, like I said earlier, watching the other crew's stuff will be beneficial. And this goes for crew number 3. This goes for anyone in chat that's listening, anyone that's going to be watching this later, for role-playing, is that what happens on screen is very different than what happens behind the screen. Like, I intentionally, like myself, for example, I intentionally made Nyx a liar and a manipulator. And if you watch the show, it looks a lot like I just power move Bowerstone, OC, Vale, and I force them to do what I want. But in chat, it's like, hey guys, here's what I'm thinking for Nyx, here's what I'm thinking for the next score, what do you guys think? Are you cool with this? And so, like, while it may have looked like, I was coercing the players and, manipulating the players, these are all things that, for the most part, had conversations behind the scenes. Hey, you guys cool with this? What do you think if we do this? What if OC does this and Nyx does this? What if Bowerstone does this and Nyx does this? And that kind of thing before it happened live. So, like, while we're playing scumbags and bad guys and villains and assassins and liars, it all was talked about and discussed, and everyone was like, yeah, cool, I like that plan. And then we brought it to life on screen as creepy and grimy and slimy as possible.
And another point to make about that, although Nyx is, like, you play Nyx as a scumbag, he's a scumbag character, after the letter that got sent to Sling, and everyone, including me, was freaking out, I got like at least 20 messages from you being like, don't worry, I promise I'm not trying to hurt you. I promise for real this time, I don't want to hurt you.
Yeah, I'm not trying to kill you, Sling. I promise I'm not trying to kill Sling.
I promise.
And that's something I want to highlight that actually is going on off screen that people don't actually see. Not only the conversations and the planning and the plotting and it's the conversations that happen after the streams. It's the conversations that happen in Discord. Just because you guys are two separate crews, there's no animosity off camera, right? I mean, there is just this it's this overwhelming sense of being like almost like a family, or just there's so much love and support for everybody and everything that's going on in the individual shows. It's just so impressive to watch.
Yeah, well, like when you try to stream with someone, then you got the GM going, "Ugh, Trader, don't stream with them."
Yeah, well, you know what, Slade? I don't want to talk about you and your public, your player unknown battleground stuff, your problems. Let's just.
Sir, I'm fantastic. Just can't handle it.
Just a little bit of animosity.
Just a little bit. Okay. So,
Yeah, I mean, don't get us wrong. We still shit talk a lot off screen
Oh yeah.
too.
Oh yeah.
But it's all in good fun. Like we are, I honestly think all of these people have become really great friends, and I love it so much.
Yeah,
I can't.
that's
I'm
true. Like
gonna-
I intentionally go into Speedy's
on.
chat even when Speedy's not in that game, and I shit on him. Like when he's playing Sims, I just shit on him about the Shroud. I was thinking on Twitter. I go harass.
in
I go
The
harass
Sims, you're a
Louise.
character in my Sims game who's a douchebag.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, Chad.
I mean, he's the
He's
douchiest
great.
character ever.
Yeah.
Such
He's a
good-
punk rocking womanizer. So I was like,
Yeah.
I guess
Chad unmade.
close.
Sling, we can still go ahead with our plans.
Oh yeah, we've got good plans.
We have plans. If we ever
Kill
do
Nick,
decide to not kill each other,
hmm
uh,
But we'll find a way. I'll
okay.
send you a
Goats
letter.
and
You
hoes
send me a
is
letter.
happening. Yeah.
It's a goat,
We're
it's a
opening
goat
Goats and
kebab
Hoes.
stand, right?
So it's
How
a petting zoo.
dare you.
Goatisserie. A goatisserie.
It's a goat stand for kids to pet goats and like leave your kids outside, and then it's a whorehouse next door. So
Yeah.
So that's where the kids
Petting
go.
zoo,
You get
and
the
then
for the
and
kids
you
and
raise
the
them.
family.
Next door.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
so confused by the way that you just.
are going.
Either way,
Nah, the
I'm
goats are
sensing a
fine.
large
The
amount of
goats are fine.
profit
The
here.
goats are in a nice
Yeah.
little pen outside,
Oh my
and
God.
then everything else.
She hangs out with the goats.
the
I deal with
inside.
the business.
Yeah.
It's great.
I
So-
pretend to not know what's going on in the house.
I'm in
It's
corporate America.
fine.
I know these things.
Can't hear anything over the goats.
So speaking of new endeavors, Johnny just posted in my Discord, probably in Speedy's Discord, definitely in the 6 and 20 Discord, and I think on Twitter. Johnny, you're starting a new blog. Are we calling it that?
I am sharing some interesting information about that. So it's on Medium. It's posted on Twitter. I need to share it over on Speedy's. Essentially, it's just ramblings about this experience. But with that, I actually wanted to move on to one of the next things, because I'd like to actually wrap this up in 15 minutes so that I can let you guys all just do your own thing. What about Tales in the Dark? Let's talk
Tales from
about
the
that
Crypt.
and the one shot.
Yeah. So Tales in the Dark is a new series of one-shots, which I know gives people some eye strokes because series and one-shot are counterintuitive. However, series of one-shots. What it is it's one-shot self-contained episode, but it takes place in the 6 and 20 universe. It takes place in primarily, I would assume, Dustfall, unless some real big shit goes down and we get Yu Adasha in here. But it takes place in the 6 and 20 universe, and they're encapsulated stories. I think the first one is going to involve myself, Speedy. Spoiler alert, it's going to involve Sean Nittner, the producer of this game. And a person from the third crew, we hope, as soon as we find the whole third crew.
We'll see.
So we'll figure out what that is. And then those are going to be once a month one-shots that the viewers, you guys can jump in on, other crew members can jump in on. And it might not be me playing Nyx. It might not be Speedy playing Sky. It might not be Luis playing Sling. We can play anything. And because that's originally how all of this game started, was with this series of one-shots. So we're going to continue that and tell other stories of things that are happening in the city at the same time. Unless Johnny has more to add to that, you're the DM.
In the city, or essentially anywhere in the world of Blaze in the Dark. So,
But it's also going to be associated with the Unmade Gaming charity stream, so you guys can donate for all kinds of crazy shit to happen. If you guys really want to affect the world and help kids not be gross and sick, you can totally do that.
Why would you want to help kids not be gross and sick?
Because they're gross and
Because they're
sick.
gross and sick.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
do you have a problem with helping kids that are gross and sick?
No, I just wanted clarification as to why.
Yeah, no, I take a personal offense to gross, sick kids, so I want to throw money at them until they're not either
Right.
of those things.
Remember,
Preferably both.
A true hero, a true modern hero.
Wipe your nose with this, George Washington.
Okay, so and then the one other thing that we're gonna talk about, and then we'll talk about the giveaway at the last. This we're calling Talks in the Dark this will be. It hasn't been decided how often we're going to do this, but it's going to be at least an infrequent, if not a frequent, maybe weekly kind of a thing where we talk about Blades in the Dark. We talk about 6 and 20 specifically and what happens on the cruise, in the different shows. And so we're still working out the details of that, but we'll have an announcement for that specifically about what that actually means by the beginning of season 2. So
stay tuned.
All right.
I will point out that we are working, so right before we do that giveaway announcement, we are working on something. As I said way earlier, there's a lot of rules confusions. Johnny said there's a lot of rules glossovers. There's a lot of things we didn't expect to happen. And as a result, we've looked through the book for more specifics on some of the bigger issues that we had. And we've decided that the rules aren't in there. There's not enough rules, and that we're going to be making our own. So in Johnny's Medium blog thing, keep an eye out, because I think that's where you said you're putting them. There's a few new homebrew things coming out, a la Johnny.
Right. So the two things that we're specifically working on, and I'm about to publish the first one and the two to you guys directly, so we can have the conversation, is a set of rules, an add-on essentially, that specifically governs the circumstances around contracts, and specifically ghost contracts.
Right.
Because we did have that. That came up in the first episode. So.
Yeah, it came up a lot. There was a lot of discussion about it afterwards, because there was a lot that came down to whether it involves intent or the exact wording of it. Because the wording of those contracts that I made in the very first episode were like super vague and like convoluted. And whether or not someone would be breaking the contract later on, that was a huge issue of how we thought that might be implemented. Whether Sling taking drugs would be breaking the contract, whether her lying would be. Whether,
there was a lot of concern about that, if I remember.
Yeah, and whether like Hocus in the last episode was breaking the contract by getting fired, or whether that would just mean the contract is up. So
right,
there's a lot to go into that, because it's the rules for the contract in the actual book is about a sentence that basically says any deal that is shook upon or made in writing and signed, you are bound to it, and if you break the contract, then you are cursed. Level 3 harm.
Right, and they give examples of what the different harm could potentially be.
Yep.
Right. But that's about it as far as what might determine breaking the contract, or what might happen if the contract is worded vaguely, then there's nothing regarding that. And so that's something that I think we need to establish, especially since both Nix and I now have the power to make those contracts. And so it will probably come up more.
Right, and so the rule set that I'll be pushing to you guys as a first draft is actually based on the example of... so in the book, there are 2 different rule sets governing 2 different types of crafting. One of them is for items, specifically, items of, note, not just like a rifle or a blade or a book, but specific, there's specific rules and around how you do that. And then the same thing for the Whisper special ability for doing rituals. And so what those are is basically just a series of questions that you ask, and it's a conversation. And so those rules will cover that. What's also interesting is that Mike alluded to the second set of rules that we were talking about, which is going to be inter-crew interaction, right? And so there were some pretty interesting examples of that actually happening. I think the most notable to me was that there are 2, and I gave them as an example to somebody in Discord, which was Ari's use of OC as a part of her backstory in Throwing the Heat, which was great storytelling, but there should have been a little bit more conversation that happened between that. And then the other was Nix asking OC to bring him Clav, who he subsequently murdered, which actually was a developing asset for Ari. Like, she was taking him from an asset to a full-on cohort. And so there needs to be some clarification and some guidelines about how that gets handled moving forward. And so we'll do both of these will be available and published by the time we go to season 2. And the result is we will be using these actively in-game to test them to see if they make sense. And then we'll just try to push them out to the wider Blades community, because there's quite a large amount of people not only playing the game but also actually streaming the game. So.
Yep. Speaking of a lot of people, we just were chatting while Johnny was droning on and on and on about the giveaway, and we have 294 unique clicks on the link for that giveaway.
Wow.
Which means 294 of you insane people have retweeted that and done likes and favorites and high fives and tip touches, PG tips included.
God, that hasn't been said yet.
Yeah, I just did it.
Drink PG tips.
Almost 4,000 entries. There's like 100 and something or more retweets
What
of
is
it.
wrong with you people?
It's
Step up
crazy.
the game.
People
Come on.
really want that book.
Well, don't worry, Hocus. Wow, don't worry, Trendane. In season 2, they will be able to step up their game in a new and unique way because we're doing another giveaway, and it's going to be an art-based giveaway. So instead of clicking on links and following, subscribing to all this shit, we're going to be taking submissions of art. In-character art, in-game art, art of the world, art of funny moments you saw in different games, all kinds of shit. Owlbear, you're excluded, you jerk. That's not true. You can totally enter it. You don't have home field advantage. Don't worry. Neither do you, Louise. But yeah, guys, everyone submit your art, character art, special scenes you like from season 1, shit from season 2, all kinds of cool shit. Submit that. Hashtag 6 and 20. Yeah, that's probably good enough. 6 and 20. I think that would probably work.
Yeah. By the time season 2 starts, we'll clarify all of that. But these were the two ideas that we were throwing around about doing giveaways, and the idea of character art, of people just sending us fan art, shipping whatever thing that they crazy thing that they think of. I think it's awesome. So.
Yeah, just know that your art will 100% be retweeted and displayed on Twitter forever. I'll probably put it. I'll probably put it somewhere. My fridge, Speedy's fridge. I'll drive to Speedy down his fridge.
I'll put it in a frame right here on my desk.
Right here,
plastered behind you when you're streaming.
Yeah, so know that shit will go public and it will get plenty of likes and retweets.
Go a step above. Mike and Speedy.
You open it and there's ARLR.
Mine is going to be made with a macaroni picture.
I want to see that, actually.
I'll treasure that forever.
Can you do that for your Hocus's mask?
It's going to be made from cooked macaroni, so it's not will be very nice.
That'll be the kind of thing that I show to my future children. Be like, get better. Do this.
Don't be like this guy.
So with that,
story about sleep.
With that giveaway announcement, guys, Speedy, I believe you have the results of the current giveaway.
I can, in fact, draw the winner of the giveaway right now.
Drum roll.
I'm tense.
Freehand?
Scared.
Can I get a drum roll, please?
No, I don't play drums anymore.
The winner is Damien Sg.
Nice. First giveaway.
Well done.
You did
Good
it right.
delivery.
10 out of 10. Would give away book 2.
He won with his entry for Video Store Cowboy YouTube subscribers, and goes by Malo Terezi. Malo Terezi. There we go.
Good job.
So
you
thank
had
you,
one
Damien.
job.
So if you're not here in chat, if you're not one of the 19 people in here, excluding the 8 of us, we will message you and harass you on Twitter DMs and just Twitter in general and get you that book. We will need your full address, social security number, and credit card number to give you that book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you'll
and
have
don't forget the 3 numbers on the
born.
back. That's very
And to
important.
forget the 3 numbers.
Yeah. Your SCV numbers, we need those too. And Johnny needs more kids, he said. So your second-born kid,
No.
firstborn.
One and done.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are all
He didn't buy the
surrogate in that
extra.
way.
He didn't buy the
Send
extra
them
tickets to
my way.
TwitchCon, so they can't go.
One and done. That's 4.
4 and done.
Getting more kids.
Yep. At least 3 more.
Now that's 1.
And if you have goats.
Can we announce our band? Is that okay to do?
You should
Announce we're in a
totally
band?
announce the
Oh,
band,
yeah,
'cause
our
that's
band.
funny.
Yeah, guys, we're in a band now. Turns out to seduce Trendane into playing in season 2, we started a boy band. It's called Not So Ungay Cowboys. So check out that coming
Apparently,
to
I
a
played the
Twitter center near
triangle.
you.
I saw
Yeah.
that on
Yeah.
Discord.
Yeah, so it's
I
4
played
of us
triangle.
and also
crews, one band.
And also Louise weaseled her
Also,
way in
there's
with the
me.
electric triangle.
The electric triangle. I'm plugged
There's,
into an amp and everything.
Yeah, this is a cross-platform show, so it's Twitch, YouTube, live music.
Yeah, live Jasmine for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Live Jasmine.
In the
We'll
interest,
be at
Live
Glastonbury.
Jasmine Blades After Dark, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
in the interest of completely just shutting this whole idea down. and just making it not happen because you're not going to sway me with whatever that thing was that you just said.
Yeah.
I believe they're offering a gay cowboy. That's what I got from that.
Okay, thanks. So the part of the reason why, if any of you are wondering why I was like,
They weren't.
I was getting
Nobody cares.
to it. Getting to it.
I'm leaving.
Both of you. No, you have a gun.
Push the button.
Fine, I'm not going to.
Where's the leave button?
Yeah, no, it's just that there is a possibility that at some point I may have to go out of state to record some voiceover stuff if the thing comes up. I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know if I'm going to have to go out of state or if I'm going to be able to do it here. I have no idea what the scheduling is or blah blah. So I've decided that I am not going to let the unknown fuck up my enjoyment, and I am going to commit right here, right now, to being committed to season 2, so long as you guys are flexible.
We start the band.
So no,
The band
That
is
is
a requirement.
opposite.
The band is a requirement.
then I'm out.
You've just lost.
I mean, to be fair, the majority of us are going to be in California in like 10 weeks.
You gorgeous shit. Shut the fuck up. I will just, I will give you such a pinch.
Orange.
Is that your safety color? Or are you saying
That's the
orange
safety
crush?
word. That's the safety word is orange.
I thought
It
you were
usually
talking
is.
to her.
Hey, Trindane,
He can't help
Trindane,
you.
I'm gonna
What?
make this offer for you right now.
Is
I
your
will
what?
get you
Your butt?
there. I will provide you a place to sleep. You just have to buy your own ticket.
And not bring pants.
You don't even know where it is.
What? Where you live?
No, where I might have to go.
Where might
No,
you
he
have
means
to
the
go?
TwitchCon. He means the TwitchCon.
I mean a TwitchCon.
I'm not talking about TwitchCon at all.
I know.
No, he's
That's what
offering-
you're-
he's
what
offering to
you're-
get you to TwitchCon.
I'm offering to get you there.
We're not even talking about TwitchCon.
We are now.
We are now
Yeah,
because
we are now.
Stroke, where are we?
We're having a band. It's a band meeting.
Live action role
We're
playing
having
on
a
the
band
Queen
meeting
Mary.
at TwitchCon.
Didn't
I'll
you
be
Following
I got
tuning
you.
into
This is
the
like-
site.
Not
this is
throwing
the
gay
first time
cowboys.
that I, as the GM, get to play
Gotta be
as a
the groupie.
player in this little fantasy that you guys have right here. So
Okay, first of all, it's not a fantasy.
It's gonna happen.
Thank you. Thank you.
okay, all right, but so that's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that because honestly, I want to know what's going to happen with Hocus because I have some serious plans for him.
Also, I'll announce it here, guys. Sling joins the Shroud.
Only if she brings a good-
Sky, Speedy's friend.
Okay, all right. So
Deflected.
one more time, Speedy, who is the winner of that giveaway?
Sound it
In
out.
English.
Damien SG.
Nailed
There you
it.
go.
Awesome. Is Damien?
I'd
SG
also
in
like to
chat?
quickly announce so
No, they're
he
not.
doesn't have a heart attack between now and I'm assuming when I get 10 million messages from him. I'm not donating.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Yes.
can
Have you
happen.
got my letter yet? Have you got my
in
letter
the-
yet?
it's in the
Hell yeah.
letter.
It's in the letter.
So I
I
will
sent
say
him an
this.
application form.
I do want. I mean, we talked a little bit. We alluded to this a little bit when we talked about Tales from the Dark. But I want to mention this real quickly because I forgot to highlight this. We also started those specifically to be able to have you guys get together from the different crews, like to be able to do the one shot so that you guys could actually interact as well. So I'm looking forward to figuring out how we can do that as well because I love it when you guys do this here and we do this, in Discord chat all the time. I want OC and Ari to be on screen at the same time. Honestly, I want that shit to go down.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I was hoping for some crossover as well.
Yeah, because that to
Do you have
me
any
is
bombs
good.
left, Slade?
It's going to be like Gladiators. Go
Taking
at
us
it.
both out.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, to this day, Mike and I have never actually played in a game together. I DM'd a one shot for him.
Yeah, you
That is
DM'd.
as
Yeah, you
far as
DM'd
it's
one.
gone.
That's true. Yeah.
I wouldn't
But bees.
mind being in
Bees.
both crews.
What about August
or all
12th?
three crews.
Oh,
That's true.
there
You'll
you
be
go.
on August 12th, Speedy. We'll
And
be
Sleep-
2 players.
And
Nixon,
Luis, I would love
Nixon,
that
Sky.
for that to happen too. I would love to figure out how to do that. That would without going nuts. Okay, I don't want to go crazy.
We'll have a one shot with the goat kebab thing. Whatever you guys, goats and
Oh
hoes.
my god, yeah, goats and hoes.
Goats
What
and
a
Can we do that, please? Can we, guys,
Can we
please?
please? Can we please?
Please.
Can we all be workers at Goats and Hoes?
It's gonna be Nixon.
Just play-
It's gonna be Nixon
Slink
Sky
can play
just
a
watching
different
like two
character.
disapproving dads.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'll-
You could be
I'll
a savvy
say-
business
whatever.
person who wants to find a way to work with goats the rest of your
Yeah.
life. Guys, we already figured out the backstory, dumb.
Sorted.
I'm gonna change my mind about season 2.
Too late. You already said it. It's
Yeah,
live on the
late.
internet.
it's committed.
I'm
It's
saying-
on.
I'm
It's
saying
on
this
record.
live now too.
Nope. They heard it.
Okay, so with all of that, I just want to say thank you guys for all showing up. This was awesome. I'm really happy that we were able to do this. Can't wait to be able to do more with you guys. Thank God I have 3 weeks until that happens, though. I swear to God.
And every plan you make is going to be gone in the.
Oh no! Oh, so
know it.
as Mike was alluding to with the whole writing thing that I'm doing on Medium, I'm going to talk about the mistakes that I made in planning for season 1 and how I'm going to adapt in season 2. And basically what it's going to involve, spoiler alert, I'm going to write little little vignettes of things and put together characters, but I'm not going to plan for shit. I've got plots and plans that can happen, but it's on you guys. If you guys never figure out what 6 and 20 actually means, that's on you, not
I already
me.
figured it out.
You. Really, what is it?
I can't say it live on stream. It'd be
We've
spoilers.
had
Yeah.
so many discussions
And-
that we haven't told you about
Three.
about what it could
Again,
be.
We discovered it ages ago. So
I
can
would
say.
love.
I
to
knew
hear
it
what your
before I
theories
The
are.
started.
secrets are hidden in the Bower Cave.
And don't worry, Trindane. I've already shit on Johnny's plans before the season already started.
I think
Johnny
the
had an
secrets
entire
are hidden in goats.
Johnny had an
and
entire
hoes.
plan for the secrets hidden goats and hoes. Gross. Johnny
In
had
the
an
Ghosts
entire
and
plan
Hoes
for the
dungeon.
one shot. He had an entire plan for the one shot as a lead-in to season 2, and then I invited Sean Nittner, and he went, "Oh no, he doesn't fit in the plans. Now I got to fix everything." And I was like, "Well, get fucked."
That was after I closed the laptop, took the
Yeah.
phone, and threw it across the room, and walked away for 5 minutes because I was like, "This is worse than John and Sean showing up in chat on the first time we played, which was probably the most intimidating moment I've had.
That was so funny.
Period. As
That
a
was
GM,
great.
I didn't.
Yeah,
know
you could
that.
see you saw
His
because
face
he went like this. He was like, "Oh yes, we're going to be role playing."
Well, I would have never known had some shit not just said, "Hey, do you know that John Harper's in chat?"
Hi.
Yeah.
I wrote
Someone
no shit.
called him out. He was like lurking
It was me.
there.
I said it. I called it out.
I remember seeing that, but I never connected that he was actually there. I thought you were just
Yeah.
fucking with him.
Nope, he was actually there. Yeah. So
He was active too.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was chatting. He was having a great
That's
time.
new.
Yeah, well, he actually helped because I was trying to describe something, and he mentioned it in chat about radiant energy plants, and it was like, "Thank you, John. Thanks for popping in and answering a question. Can you stick around for 10 episodes?"
When you make your rules or fix them or whatever has not been explained, maybe we should do you do a stream with him. You just ask him a bunch of questions and issues that we've had.
I would
and he
actually
can just
love-
make stuff up for us.
I would love for that to happen, and I would love for the people related to the particular aspects of those rules to be involved, because I would love Speedy to be there and Nix to be there, or Mike to be there specifically to talk about contracts, because I think that contracts, they're great, but holy shit, they're so ambiguous, and there's so many ways that they can go that I mean, there were tons of chats happening in the background. I'm sure Speedy was a part of some of them, but there was a bunch of stuff going on in the background about whether how that all works. So, but yeah, so we'll get to all that, and I would love John to show up and hang out with us and talk about this at some point. But we'll at least get Sean in a couple of weeks, which is going to be a lot of fun.
That's gonna be so good.
Absolutely. Okay. And so with that, why don't we do outros, and then we can let Louise get some actual sleep, and everybody else can go on to their Friday night. So why don't we start with Slade?
So yeah, I'm Slade for Crypt Dice Gaming, and once again, I played Raymond Bowerstone for Season 1, and he will be returning for Season 2. Season 1, he was more in the shadow, and now he's going to be in the spotlight, so it's going to be a different shift, and I look forward to seeing you all for Season 2. Move it over to, I don't know how they do it, just something like that, whoever I'm
Let's go
pointing
over to
to.
Trindane, since he's such a pain in the ass sometimes.
You guys need practice at that. You really do.
Just
He's
point
the
to your
top.
left. Just point to your left.
Okay, Trindane, go for it.
Okay, so why does nobody pay attention to where everybody is? I don't.
How wait a minute. How would you do this?
It's on the stream.
You take over the show, you direct the rest of it, and I will just, follow along.
Okay,
All right,
Don't
great.
we do that anyway?
Johnny, go. You're next on the line. Do your outro.
No, I'm not gonna do my outro because
See?
it's my
This
channel,
is
and
how-
I'm gonna do the last part. What's
This
up,
is-
man? What's up? You got a problem?
You just said he was in control.
Yeah, come on, man.
All right, I'm
Come on.
taking over here.
Go for it.
Sling, go.
I'm Sling, also Louise, also Accidental Legend on Twitch, and no more, no less on Twitter. Things are great, life is good, and I love you all.
Great, Mike, go.
Back up this way.
Sweet. Guys, I am Mike from Unmade Gaming. We do tabletop streams Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Soon more days are coming. You can find me at Unmade Gaming on every social media platform. And then we'll go over to Miss Ginger Ninja.
I am Xmas Ginger Ninja. I run a gaming channel. You can usually find us for movie nights and things like that in Discord. We're working on a few more things, maybe D&D related, but I play over on Unmade Gaming's channel, and I play as OC.
And Trending, you. Now is the time for you.
Okay, fine.
As I say so.
Your turn.
Fine. Thank you so much. So, since you said the whole shout out going to Trendane's Twitch channel, don't do that. I never stream. That's a stupid plan. So don't listen to this video store cow bot thing.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question? Because you're plugging yourself and you're giving me a hard time. Let me ask you a question.
You can't even see that far down.
Shut up and let me ask the question. Do you have any of your information on your Twitch channel? Like any of the bio information filled out? If not, it's silly because you're on Twitch like 2 or 3 times a week. Get some information there.
Plug the Fiverr. Plug the Fiverr. Plug the Fiverr.
Yes,
plug the
hire
Fiverr.
Trendane.
Plug the
Hire
Fiverr.
Trendane. Trendane, we love Trendane, and we need him to get hired. He's awesome. Please.
Hi, my name is Trendane. I'm an awesome guy. Come follow my Twitch.
Also,
that's the kind of pro voice acting you can expect from
to be
someone
clear,
better
from
than
that-
Slate.
To be clear, there have been a lot of innuendos, and we're not trying to sell Trendane's body. He is, in fact, a voice actor, but I'm fairly sure you could also buy him for his body.
You can hire him for his voice. It's lovely. He does Khajiits.
He has
He does the
mastery
voices
of
of
the throat
Khajiits.
in any way you want it.
Could this have gone better for you, Trendane? I mean, they're highlighting you. This is amazing.
I think
At
it's because
Trendane,
reviews
I'll
on the
charge
website.
Twitter.
I don't advertise for free. I'm charging them.
Make a website, put those
20
reviews
words,
specifically on it.
$20 per word.
Guys, you can find them at Trendane on Twitter, trendane.com on the internets.
He's so
And after Live Jasmine /
You're
Trendane.
not.
Possibly.
livejasmine.com/tbusiness.
The best.
All
The
right.
safe word is orange.
Can we go with
Told you to shut up.
I'm
Someone
sorry.
asked
You
you-
speak up.
No, I'm in charge here, Johnny. You don't get to tell me when to go, okay?
Okay, I'm
I want
sorry.
to.
I'm sorry.
All right. I'll tell you what.
Okay, now I'm gonna go.
Since Machine Gun just said do a voice, here's what you can do. If you have ever played Skyrim and you enjoyed it, go to the Skyrim Nexus and find a mod for Skyrim called Beyond Skyrim Bruma. It's one of the hot files right now. It is a monstrous add-on that basically I have got voice work all over that damn thing. So if you want to hear me do voices and you enjoyed playing Skyrim, go grab Beyond Skyrim Bruma. It's everywhere. Go shoot.
Are you doing a voiceover for a new game coming out that I'm not going to say the character's name because I'm pretty sure I'm going to fuck it up and it sounds very inappropriate if you fuck it up? There's the new
cocktails.
No, the new Paizo game that's coming out. The new Kingmaker.
Oh, you mean no?
Yeah.
No, I want to. I
Okay.
really want to, and I would love to do that. That it's a goblin named Knock Knock, and it was a joke for Alcat Games Kickstarter Kingmaker or Pathfinder Kingmaker, and they posted this picture of this goblin, and I was like, oh my god, that'd be great to do the voice. And they're like, why? What would he sound like? So I went and I did 3 takes of a voice, and you can find it on Twitter up there somewhere. And so it was like, I bet you taste like snot. And then I did the last one going, I bet you taste like snot. And they were like, whoa, what's with the Barry White goblin thing? I'm like, variation on the theme.
Hire
That's
this man.
amazing. Yeah, everyone go yell at Paizo on Twitter and tell them to hire
Well,
Trendane.
don't go and yell at them because that
Don't yell at them. Ask
Ask
them
them
nicely.
nicely.
Go
Use
to
your nice
their
yelling
front
voice.
door personally.
Send them a letter. Be like Nick. Send them a letter. Leave it in a church nearby where they live.
Send them a letter that doesn't have threats. Don't be like Nick. Okay?
Hire this man or
A nice letter.
Be like Sling's letter, which is very nice.
Sure it
Anyway,
is.
so who's in charge? Is it?
I'm still in charge. Yes.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Speedy. Welcome to Not So Speedruns.
Your side job?
No, I run the channel Not So Speedruns, where the Phantom Crew takes place. I play as Sky, the leader and everything, but you all know that if you've been here talking or watching the entire time, I assume. But I played games sometimes, and thank you all for watching, and don't forget to take it slow. Goodbye. Stream's over. Everyone go home.
God damn it.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
You know what? Goodbye. See you later. Let's go.
Bye, guys.
All right. Again, I'm just going to say thank you very much for you guys for showing up. I appreciate it. This originally was just going to be myself, Speedy, and Mike. This was 10 times more entertaining.
And yet again, we fucked up your plans.
Hey, you know what? I was offering. I figured, hey, it might be fun. Next thing I know, Slade's telling me, and then I got, Trendane's like, well, if you don't have anybody else, you both, guys, it was amazing. But at the end of it all, we got all of you. We got Jinja and Louise. It's just thank you so much. Seriously, this has been so much fun. I can't wait for season 2. I'm so glad I have 3 weeks to just not be on screen so I can focus on for specifically for that. But it was absolutely amazing. So thank you. I appreciate it. Now
Sure.
with that, oh, I'm sorry. Do you have something to say? Did you want to get the final word in, Trendane? Did you have something to say?
I only have 2 words I ever try to get in afterwards.
What's that?
Be careless.
Wow.
I'm on video for Cowboy to
Use
All right.
protection.
I do Lucio things.
Shut up, you Hanzo man.
I
God damn it.
crash buggies. I shoot teammates.
I can't drive for
All right. So,
RBG,
my name's Johnny. This is the Video Store Cowboy channel. This has been the first episode of Talks in the Dark. Like I said, we'll let you know more about what happens. You will find me gaming with Jinja and Hello Sweetie and possibly Slade or somebody else on Monday because Mike's going off to do something else fun. And then I will be gone for the rest of the
I was
week.
gonna say no, he's not.
We're turning him into the Winter Soldier.
It's going to be great.
That would be actually
Training
cooler than
montage.
what's actually going to happen. So let's be honest about
If
that.
he
Just
doesn't
killing
come
each other.
back with his arm gone, he hasn't done it properly.
You're absolutely right. So I just want to say a quick thank you again to everybody watching. Really appreciate you guys coming out and supporting 6 and 20, supporting each of the individual shows. I want to say a congratulations to our winner, who's Damien SG, one more time. And we'll be getting in contact with him. Just follow me on Twitter, Facebook, all the little things that are posted out there. And with that, we're just going to say goodbye, guys, and thank you.
Goodbye, guys, and thank you.
Goodbye,
Well,
guys.
guys, and thank you.
Well, thank you.
Bye, guys.
People
Thank
love
you.
it.
Don't forget to take it slow. This has been Not So Speedruns.
As I know, you're all legends to me.